Let's start with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Sri Radha, Radha, Sri Radha, Radha, Sri Radha, Radha, Sri Radha. So today we are gonna read. So we are reading Bhagwat Geeta as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are in chapter 1, text 5. There are also great heroic, powerful fighters like Drashtaketu, Chekitana, Tana, Kashir Raja, Puruji, Kunti Bhoja, and Shaibya. Text 6. There's no purport to that. Text 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 don't have any purport. It's just written. Text 6. There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Shubhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. Text 7. But for your information, O best of the Brahmans, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Text 8. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Krapa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurishwara, who are always victorious in battle. Let's read the purport. Duryodhan mentions the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are very victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhan, Ashwathama is the son of Dronacharya, and Saumadatti or Bhurishrava is the son of the king of Balikas. Karna is the half-brother of Arjun, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya's twin sister married Dronacharya. Let's move to text 9. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all are experienced in military science. Let's read the purport. As far as the others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Krat, uh, Krata Varma, and Shalya, all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhan's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhan. Duryodhan was of course confident of his victory on account of the above mentioned combined strength of his friends. Let's move to text 10. Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhim, is limited. Let's read the purport. Herein an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable being specifically protected by most experienced general grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas, sorry, on the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by less experienced general Bhim, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhan was always envious of Bhim because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhim. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. Yes. So Duryodhan was more scared of Bhim because he knew that he and Bhim are at the same level, and if he will die, it's only Bhim would be able to kill him. And Bhishma Pitama, we call him. So he was so powerful, and he was also spiritually very powerful because he was able to even go back in time in his meditation and see up to 100 lives of his own, like what he was in his past 100 lives. So he was very evolved person. Okay. So now so what is happening when the person is in fear, he starts looking at the alternatives that, okay, what all I have. He starts counting. When you are in fear, you start counting what strength you have, what all things you have. But when you're not in fear, you don't need to count anything, right? Because you are confident and you're going to do it. Simple. So this is the mindset that Krishna is sharing, that Bhagavad Gita is sharing, that when somebody is in fear, they start counting their strength, they start counting what they don't have, what they have, etc. Let's move to text 11. All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Okay. Also, one more thing we need to note here, that he's counting a strength which is far more than what strength Pandavas are carrying today. Okay. So, what we are trying to say here is that no matter how high a person is in front of you, if you have Krishna with you, you can easily fight him. Right? That's the message that we are getting from here. That okay, he must be maybe a Supreme Court judge, or he must be PM Modi or whatever. But if you are determined and you know that you are right, you have the faith in God, you can face anybody with full grace. Yes? Let's read the purport. Duryodhan, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So, in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man. So everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Dev. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjun's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice, while she was being forced to appear naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for Pandavas, he hoped that these generals would now completely give it up as they had done during the gambling performances. Yes. I think this is self-explanatory where Duryodhan is thinking that, you know, of course, Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya do have some soft corner for Pandavas, but he is hoping that they still don't look at that soft corner and fight the battle with full force. So text 12. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. So whenever there is वो शंख बजाते हैं ना जो in the start of any battle or when we start any puja also we blow the shank, the conch shell. Let's read the purport. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhan, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhan that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Yes. So even Bhishma knew, I told you, Bhishma was a spiritual person. He already knew that Duryodhan is going to lose the battle. But see, there was so much importance to duty. So it was his duty to still fight. कि मुझे तो पता ही है कि मैं हारने ही वाला हूँ और मैं मरने ही वाला हूँ लेकिन ये मेरा कर्तव्य है कि मुझे लड़ना ही पड़ेगा यहाँ से. So many people in our day-to-day lives we give up because we see what is the consequence. आगे क्या होने वाला है हमें पहले ही पता होता है. हम already, although we don't have those spiritual eyes, but we in our judgments, in our false ego, we already assume things that okay ये तो ऐसे ही होगा तो मैं तो नहीं करने वाली. It's, you know, and then we just move back. But that is not what we are trying to do here. If you are having a duty, let's say you have a duty of motherhood, you are a mother now. You cannot now go back के मदर बन के मुझे क्या मिलेगा बच्चे तो ऐसे ही बड़े हो जाएंगे वैसे भी मैं क्यों इतना देखूं मैं क्यों इतना करूं. लेकिन वो बात नहीं है. बात यह है कि तुम मदर हो तो तुम्हें मदर की ड्यूटी सारी निभानी ही चाहिए क्योंकि भगवान ने तुम्हें मदर बनाया है. सो भगवान के लिए तुम्हें ये सब करना है भले आगे वो उससे फायदा अपने बच्चे को हो या ना हो वैसे. सो वी डोंट हैव टू सी what is the impact. We just have to do our duty. That is the main purpose of life. ये लोग सब ढूंढते रहता है ना माई पर्पस ऑफ लाइफ माई व्हाट इज माई पर्पस मैं क्यों यहाँ जन्म लिया हूँ. अरे तुम ऑलरेडी पर्पस ऑफ लाइफ लेके आए हो. तुम जहाँ हो ना वहां की तुम ड्यूटी निभाते रहो. तुम ये मत सोचो कि उसके बाद क्या होने वाला उसका उसका क्या नतीजा होने वाला है बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल थिंक दैट इससे क्या होगा एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे स्टार्ट गेटिंग द डाउट दैट व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ माई लाइफ. तो ये तो सोचना ही नहीं था हमें ताकि हम डाउट में ना आए. हमें सिर्फ चलते जाना है. हम जहाँ हैं वहां की हमें सारी ड्यूटीज निभानी है. मैं पत्नी हूँ मैं वाइफ हूँ मैं एम्प्लॉई हूँ मैं यहाँ हूँ तो मेरी ड्यूटीज जो है वो मुझे करनी ही है. तो मैं वो करूंगी. मुझे नहीं पता उससे क्या मुझे मिलने वाला है या उससे क्या किसी को अफेक्ट होने वाला है लेकिन वो मेरी ड्यूटी है तो मुझे ये करना है. और ये कौन सिखाता है कि ये मेरी ड्यूटी है और ये मुझे करना चाहिए. ये सब हमारे वैदिक लिटरेचर सिखाते हैं कि माँ कैसे बनते हैं कैसे हम वाइफ बनते हैं कैसे हम घर चलाते हैं क्या खाना चाहिए क्या करना चाहिए ये कैसे निभानी चाहिए ड्यूटीज. ये सारी चीजें हमें हमारे वैदिक लिटरेचर में ऑलरेडी दी गई है. तो हमें सिर्फ फॉलो करना है और कुछ नहीं. So let's read the purport. The grandsire of, अच्छा, I already read this. No? Let's move to text 13. After that, the conchs, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Like, tumultuous. Okay, let's read text 14. There's no purport to text 13. On the other hand, now we are going to the other hand, that is Pandavas. Both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conchs. Let's read the purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Dev, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjun are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu Putra Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune are waiting Arjun, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjun, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Yes. Right. Let's move to text 15. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Pancha, Panchajanya, and Arjun blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhim, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. Let's read the purport. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The impersonalist cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. Yes. The Lord, situated in the hearts of the living entities, directs their senses. So they are saying that the Lord is in the heart of the person, and the heart is the place from where the senses originates. And if Lord is there, then the senses become transcendental also. But if Lord is not there, then they become of no use. But he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. So surrender your senses to Rishikesh, which is Krishna. Krishna, see Krishna, the meaning of Krishna means all attractive. Okay, so when you look at Krishna, all your senses are drawn towards him. So essentially you start working for him, you start doing everything for him. उनके कल्याण के लिए हम सब करते जाएं क्योंकि उनका जब कल्याण होता है तब हमारा भी हो जाता है उसी में because we are a part of him and he has given us this body, this everything. So when we serve him, when we work according to his senses, according to his direction, we automatically are on the good path and we automatically win. So feeling of victory is very important because अभी जैसे कि हम लोग इतने बड़े हो गए like we are now what in 40s, okay, एंड हमने पाव भाजी खाई। हमने पाव भाजी जब फर्स्ट टाइम खाई थी, वो एहसास, और अब हम जब पाव भाजी खाते हैं वो एहसास, इसमें कितना डिफरेंस है। ये डिफरेंस कैसे हो गया, ये कम कैसे हो गया? क्यों मैं वही सेम एक्सपीरियंस जो मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम खाया था नहीं ले पाती? कभी सोचा है? क्योंकि हमने, लाइक, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट ईटिंग इट विद दैट भाव। जब मैं इस भाव से खाऊंगी कि थैंक यू गॉड, आपने मुझे इतनी अच्छी टेस्टी चीज खाने दी, the joy will come from within, that okay, yes, I finally have this and I can eat it and I can feel blessed. कितना डिफरेंस हो जाता है, and again I'm able to feel the first time that I had eaten, because that joy comes back. So when we are always in surrender and when we are always grateful of the things that we get, we can feel that joy, we can experience uh, that peace. बट नहीं तो ऐसा लगता है हाँ ठीक है, तो क्या हो गया? इट इज सो ड्राई, लाइफ बिकम सो मंडेन काइंड ऑफ, हाँ खा लिया, हाँ हो गया, ठीक है, बट वेयर इज द जॉय? जब आप कोई चीज अच्छे से खाते हो, खुश होकर खाते हो, तो उसका इफेक्ट कितना अलग होता है बॉडी में। और जब आप नाराज होके खाते हो या विदाउट कुछ फीलिंग्स के खाते हो, तो उसका क्या इफेक्ट होता है, राइट? सो he's saying that when you surrender all your senses to me, and you will feel grateful, and you will feel, and it will heal your body automatically. You know? Okay. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all entities, living entities, directs their senses. But He directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. And in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjun, and thus his particular name of Rishikesh. The Lord has different names according to his different activity. For example, his name is Madhusudan because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. His name is Vasudev because he appeared as son of Vasudev. His name is Devki Nandan because he accepted Devki as his mother. His name is Yashoda Nandan because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. And his name is Parth because he worked as charioteer of his friend Arjun. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjun is referred to as a Dhananjay in this verse because he helped the elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhim is known as Brakodar because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks such as killing the demon Hidamba. So the particular types of conch shell blown by the different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there were no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, Supreme Director, nor that of the Goddess of Fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch. So in this battlefield, So they say wherever there is Krishna, there is goddess of fortune. And goddess of fortune has 10 types of fortune. And one of that is victory. So if goddess of fortune is on your side, you will never lose. And because they regarded all their conch shells as सारे जो conch shells शंख थे उनके, they represented um, their duties, their works, their victories, their past victories. And because that reminded all the soldiers that इन्होंने क्या क्या किया है, you know, life में, and that gave them more confidence. And of course, Lord Vishnu's conch shell was transcendental because it is Lord ka. So it went all three worlds, not just this one world. So it was like so anything which is transcendental has a deeper effect than which is not transcendental. So it had a deeper effect which actually uh, made the other side more nervous, and they could see that they will lose because they know that Krishna is on their side, right? So we end here. And very beautifully they've explained the conch shells and the meaning of conch shells, that why they were named this way. So हर एक शंख का एक अलग sound आता है, if you know. So जो गौमुखी शंख है, that was the shank which was used by Krishna to start the war. Okay, and there is Gauri shank. There is other which you can blow and the voice the sound will come. So हर एक का sound भी अलग है और हर एक का strength जो लगता है उसको करने में वो भी अलग है. So there is lot of importance to sound. Okay, today if we go to see, our world is full of sound. Sound is the frequency, with which everything is actually connected. Your entire technology is connected with the sound wave. Everything, most of the thing is working because of the sound waves. So it has lot of importance. Sound has a lot of importance in this world. That is what we are trying to explain. So let's meet tomorrow. Let's end here with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Ja. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha. So, Hare Krishna.